I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The harder I want to hit you.
I'm happy because of being here today. Fuck you.
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal, remember? I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fucking shit. Fuck me in the fucking ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
You know what? I wanted to like this one. I didn't hate it. I wanted to like it, but in the end, I just didn't. And there were final act problems that really downgraded this. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corlin here, and I'm here with a brand new semi-rant. And this semi-rant is going to be for none other than Spielberg's film that released around June this month, and that is Disclosure Day. And this was one I had potential for because I like Spielberg as a director. You all know I do. He's directed many films that are my favorites of his. Raiders of the Lost Ark is my #1 favorite of his. Also a fan of E.T. I like his War of the Worlds remake compared to most people. Actually, but now I think of Raiders, I like all the Indiana Jones films he did. All the original 3 films he did in that series. What else am I thinking of? And else directed? Oh yeah, Jurassic Park is my second favorite of his behind Raiders. I like The Lost World as much as he hates that movie. I like that movie. And I also do like Ready Player One, but honestly, let's face it. When is the last time Spielberg has really done a movie worth really much of a hype crap since Ready Player One? Not really anything other than producing some Jurassic World sequels that have Jurassic World 1 was mixed, Fallen Kingdom I think is a pile of fucking dog shit, Dominion is slightly better but also I don't really like, and Jurassic World Rebirth I think is also fucking crap, the one with the fucking Snickers bar and the mutated dinosaurs and the family you don't give a rat's ass about. I don't like that movie. And this one has a good concept, but the final act downgrades it. Basically, the concept of this is, if you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you? Really the concept of this movie. Yeah, so that's my reaction. So, sorry this one took a bit to review, but I needed to process this one a bit. I'm gonna be honest. I think this was just not a movie for me. Other than some good performances and good alien effects, this was too much of a slow burn with the weird bits involving the CGI winter forest that felt out of place for a movie like this and a weird what the fuck final act. So, yeah, this might end up being among my least favorite movies of the year. Not in the top 5, but probably maybe 11th place for now. Probably there. So yeah, I did not like this film. There were things I liked, but I just overall just did not think this was that good of a movie. And in all honesty, I can kind of see why there's been mixed reactions to this movie. And kind of why it's somewhat struggling-ish at the box, almost kind of struggling-ish at the box office, and why it kind of dropped its second weekend. Not just because of Toy Story 5, but because the audience was mixed to this film. So how was this film made? So it was around April 2024, And Spielberg's next project was reported to be a UFO film, and Cope was writing the screenplay. And in the next 2 months, Universal announced distributor for the film, and Blunt, who I do like as an actress, was cast in the lead role. Filming took place from February to May 2025 in New York and New Jersey, and John Williams composed the film's score, returning from other collaborations with Spielberg. And after the film was shot and completed and marketed, Disclosure Day premiered at Le Grand Rex in Paris on June 2nd, 2026, and got released in the United States on June 12th. And it's made about, 163 million worldwide. It's gotten positive reviews from critics, but the audience reactions have been kind of mixed on the film. Here's that. So, and knowing my reaction, this is a bit of a semi-rant because it's not 100% a terrible movie. It's not. I mean, I'll watch it. I would probably watch this over the other Jurassic World sequels he's executive produced, like Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, Rebirth. I probably would watch this over those. I would watch this over his more politician films, like Lincoln. I would watch it over those movies. This film actually had a good idea and good alien effects. I'll admit, the aliens look impressive. But then, of course, when it gets to the fight, once Wyatt and Emily's characters meet, it goes off the rails in minutes. And instead, the movie is actually this on-the-run rebellion from these rebel soldiers film when these two meet, compared to what the trailers made it look like. So here are the bad qualities in the story of Disclosure Taste. So now while Spielberg did do stuff like Ready Player One, which I did like, but the modern stuff that was good hasn't really resembled classics since the stuff he did like E.T. or the Indiana Jones trilogy or Jurassic Park or Close Encounters or any of the stuff he did executive produce back in the Gold Age, like the Goonies or Gremlins. Like either of those, like she was involved in those movies. And most of the stuff now is either stuff like Lincoln, that almost nobody remembers, or the BFG, which was mediocre and horrifically bombed when it came out. They just don't feel like the stuff he did back then. And it makes it more disappointing because Disclosure Day actually could have been that, but then the route they go later just makes it go downhill. And Spielberg does return to the subject he loves the most, aliens, visitations, and wants to recapture the mystery of Wonder Close Encounters in E.T., but it's a bloated misfire in the end. And it's far from his best work. So the real plot of this one, story-wise, there's a seedy organization that's led by a guy played by Colin Firth, and wants to prevent this ex-employee played by Josh O'Connor from disclosing top-secret video files that prove alien life, and he then gets assisted by this weather reporter played by Emily Blunt, who had developed otherworldly powers. And for the first bits, when they're not meeting together, like when they have their own stories, I felt that shined. That was where the film was shining. Once these two come face to face and team up, then it loses its potential. To me, that's where it loses its potential. It gets way too drawn out. There's not really a lot of action set pieces and too many ridiculous plot conveniences and ridiculous plot holes. And also, don't get me started on the fucking scene in the final act that really almost kills the film. It's where we flash back to Blunt's character as a child, and there's these bad CGI animals in some weird fucking winter cabin that looks like it came out of a fucking video game. Like, apparently we can't use real animals anymore. Really? Like, and that's the thing. When they were promoting this, they were like, we dread the use of AI. We don't want an AI-driven movie. This whole animal scene looks like it was fucking AI. These animals look fucking AI. So what the hell are they fucking talking about? Why do we have CGI animals then in the first place? The aliens look practical, yeah. I'm talking about the scene with the fucking winter forest. What are you fucking talking about? These critters look fucking terrible. That was probably the worst part of the fucking movie. So how do we start off? So this is set around the brink of World War III, because we need to buckle those because we totally need to be constantly referenced World War III in movies now. Our specialists are Daniel Kellner, our main character, steals from a place called Wardex, this arm of the government, this technology-related files with various events of human-alien contact, driving back to an incident from Roswell. And the CEO, Noah, discovers a theft and has Daniel branded a foreign spy, and he's a target of federal authorities. And he goes into hiding at this remote forest cabin. No, not the one from the CGI area, a different one. With his girlfriend, Jane. And how it starts off, this starts off interesting. I mean, I like the opening scene where he's basically being forced hostage to watch this boxing fight. And then he has to go and meet them and stuff. And I did like this bit. I did like how it was starting off. I actually thought I was going to be invested. Because, this character actually seemed kind of interesting. I kind of wish... I think he was kind of more interesting than Blunt's character, really. I thought he was... I kind of wish the film was mostly just really about him and his girlfriend. I kind of wish they were the ones teaming up more. I didn't care much about the weather news reporter or the subplot where Colin Firth's character just calls off, constantly chasing after them and stuff. I didn't care much for that stuff. But the dialogue, though, there's times the dialogue is painfully cliche. It relies entirely on chase sequences and rare set pieces, and it's not really engaging in a kind of way. And the other characters, apart from our main lead guy and his girlfriend, there's not much else I find myself invested in the other characters. Everyone just feels written and forgettable, and it's difficult to care about what's happening on screen. You really think they'd capture something like Close Encounters or even War of the Worlds and stuff like that, but it delivers none of those. And it just feels more like this on-the-run movie you've seen dozens of times before. They're going to prove the message right, and most of the film, once they meet, it's them evading the soldiers and all that. It feels more like them, and his girlfriend barely plays a role once him and Blunt do meet. And sorry I'm starting a little bit, but I think it's been like a week or so since I last saw the film, so just try to bear with me on this. Right? Just try to bear with me on this. I needed to process this before I reviewed it. And their alien-themed subplot, it's just small, and it barely feels relevant. It barely does. So why make this an alien movie in the first place if it's just going to be a small, unreally relevant to the whole story plots? And when the story finally reaches the disclosure moments, it feels the ideas are just unimaginative. It's weird. The wealth of this material, from years of classified UFO reports, it barely scratches the surface of what could be explored in a movie like this. And it's something that feels way too safe and lacking in ambition. And yeah, and it's a theme movie that actually has potential, like I said. But there's no clue, you never know why this government is so terrified to release proof of aliens. And since aliens barely feel relevant to this movie, what are they even doing here? You don't know why they're here in the first place. And very specific is very relevant or very relevant. And another thing, does every single time we put aliens in a film, does it always have to be United States where they go? Does it always have to be the United States? Why not do a different country? Do something do other areas. You could do other areas. Let's see. You could do Japan as one they go visit. Or you could do... What else can I think of? Japan... Something else... Well, sorry guys. Or Japan, or China, or even Mexico... stuff. There's plenty of other countries you could have aliens go to for once. It doesn't have to always be the United States they go to. Like it's like whenever you make an alien film now, it's always the United States is the only world in those timelines that exists. And I missed the opportunity to really discuss what it could mean to live in a world alongside aliens and what it means to distrust governments. Now, here's something. Where is it? Okay. District 9. I can't find the District 9 DVD anywhere. Okay, is it? Sorry. No, okay. Oh, no, here it is. Yeah, see? Now, I don't think this one was set entirely in the US, but look at this movie. Alright? You remember this movie? This was an alien movie. It wasn't all about being the US. And it did something a little more different. You know, it had the aliens not be invaders. Well, this movie doesn't have aliens be invaders either, but this one actually had the aliens be peaceful, and it actually did what Avatar tried to do the right way when they made the humans the bad guys. You know, it did it in the actually proper way without making the main character feel like a backstabber to society. That's one of the things I like about this movie. It does something more unique with the aliens coming to Earth approach. Like I wouldn't mind them trying to do that with this movie, you know? Like, that's one of the things I like about District 9. It did something more unique. It did something more fresh. So, back to the film. So, now we meet Emily Blunt's character, and from what we see, her news reports feel way too over the top. From where we first meet her this is a video, technically just a flashback video they're watching when we first meet her, but she's this television meteorologist, and she's having this bit of debate with her husband, and then this bird just randomly flies in her house, and it flies off, and like that, it observes her, it flies away. And then it awakens these apparent abilities she has, and it allows her to apparently understand the thoughts and emotions of others and communicate in languages she never learned. And then, of course, like the example of this is when she's speeding to work, she gets pulled over by a cop who's about to charge her or something, and then she reads his thoughts, and he just is like, okay, I'll drop the charges, you could go. No. That would not work. Like, read your thoughts and just decide to drop your charges? No, I'm pretty sure in real world that happened, you'd still be charged anyway. For speeding regardless. You can't just abandon your job because some girl read your thoughts about your marriage or something and just take off. Like, no. Like, how ridiculous is that? Like, imagine if this guy gets fired for letting a person violating traffic rules go. And then at her live broadcast, she starts speaking in this unknown language. And then footage of the broadcast goes viral. And it draws the company's attention and identifies the language extraterrestrial. And then she ends up being hospitalized and captured by the agents. But then her husband shows up and breaks her out of the hospital. And then she goes into hiding as well. And then we get back to our main character, who I actually cared more about. She reveals the stolen files of Jane and explains the Vortex was experimenting on captive aliens and reverse engineering, and states the intention to make the information public. And he learns of Margaret and discovers he's the only one who can understand the alien language she spoke. And through this alien device that grants capabilities, Scanlon forms this bond with Jane and uses it first to make her attempt to kill Daniel, but then tracks them at a hotel. And what I should clarify is before she meets this guy, they're on the road, and for a bit they stop at this gas station everyone's apparently looting and panic buying the whole thing out of. And then, of course, eventually, after a bit of this other debate, she takes off and I think leaves him stranded at the gas station. Like, really, though, maybe you may have a bit of conflict with this guy, but you leave the guy that got you out of the hospital, that helped you evade capture, and you leave him there. Really. And so, just, like, why though? Yeah, I get this guy maybe kind of come off as a bit of a prick, but this guy got you out of the but this guy saved you from getting caught and got you out of the hospital. But either way, then after the whole hotel bit, there's this other she has this other alien device that Daniel also stole. Daniel, though, is captured, and though, like, Margaret then has visions of Daniel, and this is where they meet. She goes to his black site where he's being held, and then they escape because Margaret used her abilities to influence their pursuers to standing down. And though one of them is unaffected, and he rams their car into the side of a passing train, and he pulls Margaret out. Daniel does. They climb onto the train, and they can be safe. Like, this is kind of most of their time when they meet. It's really just them on the run from these guys that are not really interesting villains that just are apparently able to stand down because they understand her language, and only one of them's unaffected by this. Like, these were the character, like, their subplot together was not that interesting to me. Like, I didn't really buy their chemistry. I don't buy how apparently how these two were connected that well. Right there, and I don't buy that these army would just stand down their attempted attack because they understand her new abilities, apparently. There's no denying the craftsmanship is good. The visuals are very elegant with the alien scenes. When the aliens do appear, the performances are not bad. I'll admit that. The characters aren't interesting, but their performances are actually kind of not bad. Emily Blunt still does everything she can with the material, but it's built around this complicated premise that doesn't really feel revolutionary as it seems to really think. And the idea of humanity learning that life exists would be astonishing when the alien genre was more relevant, but audiences are now too immersed in UFO culture and other stuff like the government disclosures and podcasts and theories now. So it just no longer carries the shock value necessary to sustain a near 150-minute long slow burn movie. And it's especially true for UFO enthusiasts. Like, they already spent years thinking about disclosure and imagining the implications, but it really takes a conversation really much unexpected stuff and stretches familiar ideas with nearly 2 hours to try to set up, and the story doesn't really move much. But once again, I'm saying it's not a bad movie. It's not. It's still beautifully directed, because Spielberg still does beautifully direct the film. It's thoughtfully acted and technically impressive. It just feels disconnected from the moment in which it was released, and it wants the audience to experience awe or revelation that many people already rehearsed countless times. And now, once they escape these other Wardeck soldiers, our two lead characters get rescued by these Wardeck's employees, who are now these guys called whistleblowers, and their leader, who apparently find out their leader was working with Daniel, hides him in this warehouse as this invisible house. It's a reconstruction of Margaret's childhood home, and encourages to recover memories connected to phenomenon. And this is where we get our scene with these fucking animals that was probably the worst scene of the movie. It felt too out of place for this film. It feels way too Disney-like, and the animals look horrendous. I'm sorry, they do. And some people are probably going to be like, you don't get the point of the sequence. You don't get why it's poorly CGI'd. If they're trying to have this connection, how about make them look realistic and don't look like a fucking PlayStation game? That's so hard these days. Like, and this was coming from a guy, directed by a guy who's against AI. And yet has these CGI animals in the film that look like they're AI. These animals look like they're made out of AI from Coca-Cola commercials. Then, so why even say that? It makes no sense. God. And then during this, she also discovers apparently she and Daniel have a connection. They were abducted by those aliens, and they were subjected to experiments that gave them these powers. And learns these animals have appeared through their lives because apparently they're aliens. And they use harmless forms to observe them. That's why. That's why apparently they're connected. Yeah, so this is why apparently. God, like, I just hated this scene. It felt way too weird. It felt way too what the fuck. It was just not a creative twist to show why these two were connected in the first place. It's one of the reasons why their subplot was just not interesting. And if this exact film was directed by somebody who is not Steven Spielberg, it would be called for what it is. This conspiracy thriller that leans on every alien cliche, brings nothing fresh or insightful to the table. It has remarkably little to say for what could be an intriguing premise. Because most of the film, it's not really about aliens anyway. It just plays out as this one long chase movie, one that struggles to justify its runtime's existence of 150 minutes long. The villains, like these Works guys, even call them first character, are fucking incompetent idiots with IQs of 0. Because whenever Margaret has these abilities, they're like, okay, whatever, no, we're not, okay, so we won't do this attack then. That makes you guys fucking morons. And people are gonna go telling me, you don't get the movie, you don't get the point of the movie. So what? Decisions like they just undermine sense of tension. The plot moves from increasingly nonsensical development to another. The character motivations just rarely hold up, and the script feels out of touch with where public fascination and conspiracies stand today. Much what it offers feels like ideas that were just exhausted decades ago. Like, and apparently, yeah, because the aliens appear rarely, and instead the movie's just a chase thriller. Because these people know too much, and we can't let them tell the truth to the public, or everything will go to shit. So we gotta hunt these people down. Where have we seen this plot before? Right. We've seen this dozens of countless times. This is not creative. It's not original. We have seen it in countless movies. Countless. Like I said before, if this was not directed by somebody like Spielberg, this movie would not be getting this probably would not be getting the positive reviews it got. It wouldn't. And it's not really becoming a huge box office hit really either. It might smallishly break even, but don't count it being a huge moneymaker. Because it got crushed by Toy Story 5 next weekend, and I think it's gonna get crushed by Supergirl, which I've heard bad things about. So I'm kind of skeptical checking that movie out. And July, it's gonna have another Minions movie we don't need, crushing it. So technically it might end up being a bomb. And the villain of the film, and like our main villain of the film in the final act, after seeing Margaret again, about to broadcast everything, he just decides to call his plans quit and let the broadcast go through. For no reason. All because he saw a vision of his wife. Or, God, stupid writing either fucking way. And after this was like 2 hours where he's constantly trying to chase our heroes. We have to kill them, we can't let anybody know what happens, or everything will go downhill. But then after seeing news reports like, whatever, I'll just call the towel, and you go ahead and make your broadcast that I was trying to make sure you don't broadcast to the fucking public. What kind of villain is this? Like, this is like I've said, the first chunk of the film engaged me. because I liked what they were setting up. I did like Daniel's main character. I thought him and Jane were more interesting together than him and this Margaret chick were. Like, the explanation became, like, clear where the interest starts to wane and goes on and on and on, and then you get to the whole warehouse bit, and there's, like, too many weird, goofy bits where the soldiers are raiding that invisible house, and they get thrown around the room and stuff. It feels which also feels way too bizarre. Like, this is a film that eventually I just wanted to end. So, now we get on with the finale where Margaret and Daniel escape with help from the whistleblowers, and they get back to the news studio, and they make a public broadcast called Disclosure Day. And the idiot, stupid fucking villains try to stop them. They disable the power grid and the station's backup generator, but then the girlfriend finally arrives and gives the device to Margaret and restores the power, and Scanlon just decides to give up his plans. Either way, regardless, because this villain's a fucking idiot of a villain. And the guy that did not get affected, he's like, fine, whatever. He storms off in anger. And then the transmission goes to the whole stunned world of alien encounters and the government cover-ups. The broadcast goes to a global audience, and the imminent war stops. And the whistleblowers reveal one of the aliens that they freed. And the alien privately whispers a message to Daniel and relays it to Margaret, and with the world watching, she prepares to deliver the message and says, listen. And that's how it ends, really. And I'll admit, I like like I said, I like the alien effects. I think the aliens look very great. You know, I liked how practical they looked. At least they looked more realistic than the animals did. The American government tried to cover up the existence of aliens for decades, which was to experiment on and torture them, but the aliens chose 2 American children out of all the people in the world to give powers to and save humanity. And the rebel movement, the disclosure of existence of aliens, are a bunch of Americans, and they end up saving the day through Margaret's news broadcast and get sent to New York and broadcast around the world, and the war stops. That's really the end of the movie. That's the end of this 150-minute film that barely felt like about aliens and was more of an on the run from this rebel government that was trying to stop this broadcast, but then randomly just seeing. But after their leader, played by Colin Firth, just sees Margaret about to broadcast, he just decides not to. And just decides to allow their plans to be foiled. Like that. Because they couldn't come up with a good defeat for this guy. I really don't know why. But oh well, the movie's over. Alright, so now I don't have any good qualities. So, I'd say for good qualities, I like the character Daniel. I thought Daniel was a pretty interesting main character, where he's kind of this rebel criminal guy that kind of gets thrusted into this whole thing, you know, and learns he has to launch this whole thing and stop this whole thing, you know. And I like the scenes he had with his girlfriend, you know. I thought they were the standard of the film, and I wish the film was about them instead of him being paired up with Blunt's character, who gives a solid performance, but I just felt her character was just not that interesting of a character. I didn't care much for news reports or her new alien language or backstory with how they got abducted or why they're connected. I care more about Daniel and his girlfriend. I thought they were more interesting. I think them I liked more, and I think it should have just been about them more. Right there. And then the film probably would have been a little better. And the aliens, when they're on screen, they look impressive with their effects. You know, like, I like how it kind of feels nice to see not CGI aliens, actually see more practical ones. Because it kind of feels like a long time since we've seen practical aliens. I will give it that. But other than that, I just did not like this movie. Some are going to say I don't get this movie. I just thought this film just felt too over the place and just felt kind of boring. It was just not a movie for me at all. And if you like this movie, that's fine. I'm glad you do. I just did not think this movie was my cup of tea. And there are other Spielberg films I think are better. Most of his original films are better. I think Ready Player One is better. I think his War of the Worlds movie is better than this movie. And yeah, I know people don't like that movie, but I would rather watch his War of the Worlds over this. I thought that was a much better alien movie he directed in modern times than this was. So in the end, I guess if you are a fan of Spielberg, I probably would stream this one, but don't expect something like his original Golden Age. Anyways, that's it for my semi-rant on Disclosure Day. If you want to rank Disclosure Day, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you're a fan of Spielberg and kind of want to see him direct a new original film, well, you may get that here, but don't expect something like the Golden Age, so I probably would just stream this one at home. If we're going to rank Disclosure Day, I'm going to give Disclosure Day a 5.5 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That wraps up Disclosure Day. Now I want to know in the comments down below what you guys think about Disclosure Day, whether you like this movie or don't like this movie. And until then, guys, that will be it for this semi-rant. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to Don G. Corleone.